Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Friday edition of Moohead Radio. I'm your host, the Big and Furry Bovine. We're going to be talking sports, Northeast Ohio style. If anybody wants to join me in the studio, feel free. All you have to do is go over to the YouTube broadcast, look at the show description, click on the link, and you're into the studio. This time of the year, it's a lot of friends and family. I continue doing programs during this period of the time just because it fills out the year. Obviously, there are more important things than listening to podcasts, but it's nice to know that people listen after the fact, even if we're not getting as many live viewers during this time of the year as we might in another time. And it doesn't help that the Browns have totally fucked up their season. That hasn't helped either. Today is a program that I call Total Incoherence. It is the stuff of which professional sports is made of. Happy New Year to you, Rick, and Double P. Nice to see you in the studio as well. There's so much stuff going on behind the scenes with the Cleveland Browns. I'm going to start with Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett takes a clear stance on recent punishment. And this is the kind of thing that he's laughing talking about this, folks. And we still don't know what it is because Stefanski won't say what it is, but it had something to do with the sickness that Myles Garrett says was a miscommunication. I have no idea. I have no idea whatsoever. Hi, Christopher. How are you? He was benched in the first series, and it's not clear, except that he said that he understood Stefanski's decision, but he didn't expand any further on that. That was coach's decision on what happened during the week, and I respect his decision, Garrett said with a slight grin on his face. I was sick and I didn't communicate well enough. Well, you know something? I'm sick of Myles Garrett. I'm going to be honest with you. What's wrong with the Cleveland Browns is what's wrong with professional sports in general, and that's that they all go rogue and do not what's best for the team, but what's best for themselves. And they screw the fans over. And they're not as bad as the owners, because God only knows how stupid the owners are. And that's right, Double P. Myles Garrett now is suddenly defending Joe Woods so he can continue to get away with this bullshit. You know, here's what I think of Myles Garrett, a very talented player who plays when he wants to and takes plays off, and a guy who's more concerned about whether he's on a Hall of Fame track or not. And you've got to be kidding me. He's not. And that the defensive player of the year and what his standing is, and he's not that either. He hasn't been, and he never will be, because he doesn't give a flying fuck about anybody but himself. He does all the right things in public. He's all attending the right charities. But when it comes down to performance on the football field, sometimes he looks like an unstoppable force, and other times he just coasts. And I agree with Christopher. What he's looking for is the next place, so he can do his Defensive Player of the Year and Hall of Fame track in a different place. It's really lame. Just more than I can stand. And to be sitting there laughing about it when you're coming off a pathetic loss to a pathetic team, an old man quarterback in your own stadium, And Myles Garrett was nowhere near anybody. He was slip sliding away. But that's just scratches the surface of what the problem is. Here's what we have in Northeastern Ohio. You've got conspiracy theory reporters, and I'm not going to mention people by name because it ain't worth it. But now it's in vogue to do conspiracy theories. So now DePodesta is calling all the plays. And, no, he's not. Stop making shit up. It's ridiculous. Now, his philosophy has an impact on what plays are called, but he isn't sitting there in real time calling plays. Like, no. But it's good for a headline, especially if you're a has-been who isn't a has-been Northeast Ohio sports reporter? I mean, come on. I swear to God, they're going to find the remains of Paul Hoynes somewhere, sometime, and they're going to say, holy shit, this predates the dinosaurs. Nobody except for Brian Windhurst leaves Northeast Ohio and actually goes somewhere. They just sit here, piss and moan, and make shit up. So let's stop this before it begins. I have a completely different argument about DePodesta, and he doesn't have to be calling the plays in order to be the villain. All right? What I'll tell you is this. Ask any gambler, and he'll tell you he's got a system. And I don't mean card counters who have a unique skill. I mean, you talk to any gambler who's losing his ass, losing the mortgage on his home, and I got a system. But you see, a system doesn't mean anything because things change in real time. Like when you come out of the tunnel in the second half and the team's made adjustments that you're playing. The system doesn't work. If they change what they're doing, you have to change the system on the fly. If there was a system that guaranteed people to win, there wouldn't be so many fucking casinos and so many goddamn gambling addicted people. They'd all be winning. I mean, so help me God. It just irritates the hell out of me. So what kind of a system is there? Really, what kind of a system is there? DePodesta has an analytics tilt to the way he thinks. Does it mean anything? No, not at all. And the reason it doesn't mean anything, he's failed. I don't care about what his theory is. I look at the results. Let me tell you a good story about analytics. And I'll do it in my own business, my own company that I ran. And I'll tell you the value of analytics. I'm in Flint, Michigan for 9.5 years. The inner city of Flint, Michigan was, city limits was about 40% African American. The music that we played on a top 40 radio station as a result had an urban lean to it. And at this time, it was the early 90s, right? New Jack Swing, all the hip hop, and then the rap. Yep. And we were playing it because white kids liked the music. Now, fast forward. And I'm in Binghamton, New York, where there's a higher Asian population than African American population. And I'd never been in Binghamton before in my life. I was 9.5 years in Flint. I'd never stepped foot in Binghamton. How did I know what people wanted to listen to and didn't want to listen to? All I did is took a look at the ratings in the market and said, okay, obviously something's wrong here. The music that's being played on Star 105.7, that was the name of the radio station in Binghamton, if you want to look it up, the music wasn't right. So what did we do for our analytics? We got an entire auditorium full of radio listeners, not just people who listened to Star 105.7, but people who listen to Mix 103.3, people who listen to the country station, The Hawk, people who listen to WAAL, The Whale, that was the classic rock station. And we assembled a list of hooks. Now, if you don't know what a hook is, that's the part of the song that you remember. Oh, I wish I had Jesse's girl. That's a hook, okay? It's not a good hook, but it's a hook. So we assemble all these hooks. And there's a simple scale of 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, do you recognize this song? B, do you like this song? Would you call this song a favorite song? And we assembled through all of these hooks. And the hooks are only a few seconds long. You either know the song or you don't. And we got the results back and we were like, holy shit, is this the land that time forgot? All of the music that we were playing in Flint, Michigan, these people never heard of. All of that hip hop, all of that New Jack Swing, all of it. They never heard it before. They were living in an environment where everything was John Bon Jovi. It was hair band stuff from the 80s that they remembered. It was like, wow, this is weird. They didn't know the MTV music, so they weren't listening to The Cure. They weren't listening to just the stuff that was the synth pop of the day. They were listening to more of the classic rock side because that was WAAL, and that's what they were playing, and that was a popular radio station. So when we assembled our list of gold music, oldies, if you will, or recurrence, recent oldies, it was stupid. We weren't going to sit there and start playing, LL Cool J going back to Cali. We weren't going to do that. We weren't going to play artists that they'd never heard of. And that's where analytics got us into line, and it let the marketplace tell us what they liked and what they didn't like. But what we did before the songs played, after the songs played, out in the community with our live remote vehicle, that was all strategized based on localization of us being out in the community. It was a plan. And it had nothing to do with analytics. It had to do with common sense that we had to be visible. We had to be part of the community. And that's how I used analytics. And you want to know what happened? In the first ratings book, full ratings book, we shot up to the #1 popularity radio station in Binghamton, New York. Bypassed WHWK, the Hawk, bypassed WAAL. Hawk was the country station. Because we were playing the right shit, because it was the listeners themselves who were telling us, dude, you're playing the wrong music. It can guide you, but it can't tell you how to run your fucking business. And what scares the hell out of me is Jimmy Haslam is what I call a magic bullet guy. Always looking for a magic bullet. Like, he wiped out Dorsey and he focused in on analytics like it was a magic pill. That if he took it, all his ills would go away. Like it was going to let the Browns start winning football games. And he's a stupid fuck. He's from Tennessee. He's a stupid fuck from Tennessee. Black Eyed Peas. What can I tell you? If it were that simple, everybody would be doing it. I mean, and the thing that's funny is successful organizations are successful because they have a feel for what they're doing. Jimmy Haslam thinks that there's this magic pill that he can take and it's suddenly going to work for him. I'm getting a question here in the chat room from Richard Branham. Hey, Moo, not saying they will. But what happens next year if our offense sucks and Watson is average? Keep it up, Moo. Happy New Year. Well, I'll answer that question. What happens if our offense sucks and Watson is average? Well, first, let's look at how we're going to utilize Watson. Because if analytics is going to take over, I mean, well, we have to do this many snaps from this formation and this many snaps from this formation. And we are only going to draft players. Not that we really have a draft anymore, but we're only going to draft players based on what the analytics says. And it tells us that speedy wide receivers are just not that important. And neither are linebackers, by golly. And our offensive line, well, they're going to be injured next year like they've been injured the last couple of years because Jedrick Wills will be back and he's a bum. He doesn't work hard. And the other guys work hard, but, they're beat up. So a lot of the questions is what happens if the offense sucks? Why? Why would the offense suck with Nick Chubb in the backfield, with Deshaun Watson, with Amari Cooper? I'm going to bring Bronk in here. Hi, Bronk. How are you?
Moo.
Yeah. I mean, why would we suck? And the answer is, if we misuse people or if we don't have anybody for Watson to throw to, he will look average. I guarantee you he'll look no better than any quarterback who has no wide receivers to throw to. And if the wide receivers don't, when he evades being tackled, just stand in the middle of the field with their hands on their hips and don't break into open areas or come back to the quarterback, he won't complete those passes either. So, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say that one size fits all. If the offense is bad, it may just be because we're drafting the wrong players and the whole theory is wrong. And it doesn't apply to every little thing. We all hope that Ohio State can get past Georgia, but boy, Ryan Day is going to have to get a lot smarter for that to happen. Yeah. Georgia's got a hell of a defense, and you never know. It's like I say, 18, 19, 20-year-olds, you don't bet money on that.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, I think you've said this before yourself, is that when the 18 or 19 or 20-year-olds make a mistake, then people want to blame them when really the only people to blame are the coaches, because the 18, 19, 20-year-olds are still children, basically. You can't have a pop at them. So,
yeah,
there you go.
And, again, and I think there is a possibility that Ohio State could lose badly to Georgia.
Oh, very much so.
Yeah, and yes, but Ohio fans will just say, fire the coach, fire the coach, fire the coach. That's all they're good for. Fire the coach, fire the coach. I'm trying to get at what's really wrong with the Cleveland Browns.
What is wrong with the Cleveland Browns?
It's a shitty place to play. It's a shitty environment. The owner is an idiot, and he does. I mean, right what it looked like. Now I'm going to sound like The Sopranos. If you ever watched The Sopranos, you would get the line that was, the guy from Bruce Springsteen's band, he'd say, every time I'm getting out, they keep pulling me back in. It's the same thing. Every time it looks like Jimmy Haslam's backed out of the picture, he's already one step ahead, and he's got some goofball from baseball running the show, and it might as well be him because neither of them knows shit. And that's what's wrong with Cleveland. It's rotten from the bottom all the way to the top. It's just rotten, and everything starts up here. So I just don't. And honestly, and I'm seeing again, Kevin and Andrew have to go. Owen Paul on Jimmy.
Let's just all go. I have to go too, man. I've had enough.
I mean, You know something. Um, the only people who get fired are the people who Haslam uses to deflect blame from himself and his wife.
Scapegoating.
That's it. And when it's their turn to go, they'll go. It's a lousy place to play. That's why Myles Garrett doesn't give a shit whether he lies to people about his sickness, whether he's fucking around. It's why Clowney practiced, but now he's saying, but I'm not sure I can play. Why does Mike Clowney sound like, hey, Casey Kasem? I'm not sure I'm going to play.
Wow.
Why practice if you're not going to play?
I don't know, man. I mean, and the thing about analytics that these smug bastards like Stefanski seem to forget, and Andrew Berry, is that if you use analytics, then you become predictable, and other teams can use your analytics against you, you dickheads.
Well, here's one that really gets me, and it really does. It makes me like people saying, see, did you see what Baker Mayfield did? You see?
What did he do?
See?
He had one good game, I think, this past year.
Wait. So Hackett was fired after that game. All right. Okay. Coach of the Broncos was fired. Now it comes out that they never had a padded practice since the beginning of the season, before the beginning of the season. They never practiced with pads on.
Well, that's an interesting technique.
Well, you wonder why they weren't prepared for any game they played.
That would be like a musician trying to practice without using their bow or their pick or their mouthpiece, and just sit there and, silently finger what they're meant to be doing.
Yeah, so Baker Mayfield looked dangerous against a team that, poor 32-year-old Russell Wilson's like, oh, I got to get out of here. And, it's horrible when you see it. Now, that's a coach who's, I can't imagine that anybody rubber stamped that on the organizational level. Just to make sure they don't practice.
Well, how would they not know about it, too? I mean, surely if it got into like October and they were not practicing in pads, that somebody would say, well, maybe, dude, Well,
that's why they take the press off,
That's a lack of supervision going on there. I mean, if management are meant to supervise their hires, then that somebody wasn't doing it. So,
yeah, I don't have to sit here and, get after Stefanski and get after, the defensive coordinator, or get after, Prefer, or get
it's already been done. Yeah.
I mean, it's already established that the owner is a loser and he knows nothing about the game, and he just entrusted the entire organization to a guy who's like a gambler who has a system.
Yeah.
And that system tells him what to do. And you see the same thing with these
exactly it. Yeah.
Assholes who are trading stocks, the day traders and the people who are working at all these, hedge funds. I got a system. And you know what their system is? The guy who owns the place doesn't pay taxes. They inside trade. They get busted a few times. They get a slap on their wrist, and they go on and they make money.
Pretty much.
I mean, how many friends do you have who are playing the market and making money and not working for a living? How many people do you know?
Well, individuals.
There's no system.
Yeah.
But if you believe there is, then you're naive, or you're Jimmy Haslam because you don't know what else to do. And somebody impresses you with this so-called scientific system. And to a guy from Tennessee like Jimmy, let's just say he's not the most sophisticated man in the world.
Well, I actually think D knows more about football than Jimmy does. So there you go. That wouldn't surprise me.
His brain power could not power an ant's go-kart around a BB. This guy is not smart. He's not smart. And so he's got to have somebody else. He got convinced by Johnny Manziel. How smart can he be?
Yeah.
Impressing Jimmy Haslam is scary.
Wow.
It's really scary. I mean, if you impress him, you must be a thief, stupid, or a stupid thief.
It's sad that it's just
Something doesn't make sense.
sad. It don't make sense.
Kevin
Chewbacca.
Stefanski, yeah, Kevin Stefanski is a guy who is like, he's got to look neat and precise, and he's just, and this is how we're going to do this, and then we're setting this up this way, and we do this, we run this play, we run that play, and it's very meticulous, and it's very cold-blooded and unemotional. And then all of a sudden, it's like it's 4th and 1. We're going to throw the bomb. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, we're 4th and 2 on the 30-yard line of the opposing team, and we got a running game that got us all the way down there, and they're going to bring in our backup quarterback and throw a ridiculous fade down the sideline to some idiot that we got off the practice squad, and the ball fluttering to the ground.
Now, I mean,
that's us.
So what is there really for Deshaun Watson to look forward to? Well, there's nothing. He has guaranteed $230 million until he can't take it anymore, and he can demand a trade like he did from Texas. That's all. That's all it means. Don't think he's going to be here for the full duration. Why would he? Nobody should be playing here. It's like, you know what this is like? This is like putting your head on the ground and drinking the water from the Love Canal in Buffalo in the 1970s.
Yeah, nice. Nice.
I mean, this is not a healthy place. And I can't tell you if Stefanski's just, a fuddy-duddy, if he's good, if he's not good. He's got no receivers. And there's no separation. I don't know. I can't tell you what he is. What I can tell you is that while we were having all these problems, we drafted no wide receivers the last couple of years. We keep just trying to, I don't know what it is, but it's a problem. It will continue to be a problem. Deshaun Watson's quoted as saying, "We all trust Kevin Stefanski. We love Kevin. We support Kevin. We respect Kevin." And that's for now.
Yeah.
That's for now.
Well, I think about Watson is he knows what to say. He knows the right thing to say. It's like he's been coached by the guy in Bull Durham. He knows what to say during interviews.
Just ask the women.
Yeah, exactly.
He's persuasive.
Gets what he wants, usually. Most of the time.
Yeah. I mean, what are the players going to say at this point? What are they going to say? I mean, Deshaun Watson's capable of being a tremendous quarterback, given a system and players that he can get on the same page as and who can get open. But you know something? It's going to require a lot more than what we have, and something has to be done. And again, this is not analytics speaking. This is just common sense. So, that's what's going, Deshaun Watson and Amari Cooper are planning to meet for extra reps over the offseason. God, we can only hope so.
Well, that's the admission there, isn't it? That they didn't have extra reps, or they're not in sync, or that's you don't even have to read the article.
I mean, not that we're not practicing in pads and all that, but it's too late. If you go into the season and you don't know who you're throwing to and that kind of thing, it's going to take you time to get up to speed.
It's freaking January, man.
But the Cleveland fans are too busy trying to point a finger and find somebody to blame, and that's really not the issue. The issue is that the toxic environment makes players not want to try hard, and they're not putting out. The players just, and you ain't seen nothing yet. I mean, the Commanders have to win this weekend, right? They have to win. Carson Wentz, that's right.
Carson Wentz. And he'll look like an all-pro against us.
Heineke is going to go out and grab a Heineken because he ain't playing. And Carson Wentz, who is probably one of the least popular quarterbacks with his teammates, is going to play, but he has a better arm than Heineke. Heineke is actually loved more by the team than Wentz.
Hey, can I say my Carson Wentz joke for the 15th time?
Sure, go right ahead.
Carson Wentz has been shit ever since he married Meghan Markle. And it's true. You go back that many years to when he married Meghan Markle, he's been absolute rubbish. That woman destroyed Carson Wentz.
Well, it's a lot like Tristan Thompson when he got involved with a Kardashian.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, did you see how fast his career went? Right into the toilet. Yeah. Put the Kardashian label on you.
Would you want a career if you were married to a Kardashian? That is a career.
No, I mean, I would just get lost in her ass. I don't know. At any rate,
I don't think you need a career if you're married to one of them.
The Commanders have to win, and the Browns are playing for nothing. And you can figure out what's going to happen out there.
Yeah,
one team's going to want it, and the other team isn't going to want it. And to tell you the truth, there is. We should go Al Pacino. There is no cure for an amputated spirit. Yeah.
Wow.
And that.
Wow. That's heavy.
Yeah. Dead Poets Society. No, not Dead Poets Society.
That was Robin Williams.
So what was the movie with, oh, come on. That's ridiculous that I can't pull this out of my ass. I didn't get much sleep yesterday. And I'm like, last night, and I'm like, A Scent of a Woman. Jesus Christ.
Hoo-ah.
There you go. But yeah, amputated spirit, that's the Browns.
Oh, it's like we never had one. It left in 1995 and never came back. Went to Baltimore.
I get nervous when I see a headline saying Deshaun Watson believes more scoring coming soon for the offense.
Well, you mean we can't win with only 13 points? It worked one time.
I know.
What do you mean? 13 points is not enough.
Yeah. Take it from the king of scoring. I to be honest,
he's probably scored enough in his life. He's just like gotten bored with it,
Yeah, I know. There's more to life than scoring. And it's coming soon for the offense, and it's like
coming soon.
I don't know
when Watson coming soon. No,
without wide receivers that are open, for God's sakes, I don't know where it's gonna come from. But for Deshaun Watson, these last two games are important because he's just got to see the game and kind of realize where he is, and his spirit will be amputated, and then he'll have to go somewhere else. But at least he'll get an idea of how deep the water is here. Because it's plenty deep, and I don't know. So
I'm doing a little test myself. I took a photograph of the AFC playoff picture after Week 14.
Yep.
I'm going to compare that to the actual playoff picture after Week 17 and see whether anything actually fucking changes. Whether these extra 3 games that these men have to subject themselves to is actually worth a piece of shit time to do it. And now watch somebody on Cleveland.com will copy this idea. But anyway, that's what I'm going to do. And we'll see. The Browns were in the hunt, Week 14. They're now out of the hunt. And so gradually we'll see whether anything changes at all on the AFC playoff picture. I predict maybe one slight change. And all the same teams that were 1 through 7 are going to be 1 through 7. So
well, here's something that will, and there was the New York Jets have gone 0-4 in their last 4 games.
They've had a Cleveland sort of meltdown like we do in October every fucking year.
Well, I mean, that's the thing about a 17-game season is that the truth eventually arrives at your door. Yeah. And the Jets are now 7-8. But it's interesting. They have fading playoff hopes, but they still have a chance, Jim Carrey says.
Yeah, they have a chance. So there's still a chance, yes.
Listen to this. If the Miami Dolphins defeat the Patriots, which is entirely possible because Tua's not playing, if they defeat the New England Patriots, the Jets would earn a wild card by beating the Seahawks and then the Dolphins in Week 18. Well, I'm sorry, but that's not going to happen.
Yeah, exactly.
The Jets haven't been in this position since 2015. What position? They went into the final game needing a win to secure a wild card berth, favored by 3 points. They lost to the Bills and coach Rex Ryan 22-17.
Yeah.
Now, Saleh, for his part in New York, says he won't be scoreboard watching on Sunday afternoon, but suspects he'll know the outcome of the Dolphins-Patriots game. Unless we take care of ours, he says, it doesn't matter. Well, you haven't taken care of yours. You were 7-4, and you didn't do it.
Yeah, didn't Mike Pettin have that sort of season with us? Like he went, didn't we weren't we like in first place, like 6-3 at one stage, and then we ended up being like 6-10 or something ridiculous like that.
But stop and think about this. It isn't because the Jets are better. They're playing in a lousy division. That's the only reason they still have fading hopes.
Yeah.
They'd be out of it if they were anywhere else.
Yeah.
So it isn't like, and the Jets have made a step forward, but next year they could hit the field and lose their first 5 games.
Correct.
They really haven't gone anywhere precisely. So, other teams have problems, not just the Cleveland Browns. And, I'm looking at this game from a statistical perspective as far as, the Commanders are concerned. What's interesting is if you look at the 2 quarterbacks, Heineke's played 9 games. Wentz has played 7. So it's a pretty fair, comparison.
Yeah, they're the same guy, basically. Yeah.
Well, Heineke has completed 62.2% of his throws and went 62.9.
Yeah, they're the same guy.
One guy has 1,859 yards. The other guy who's played 2 games less, 1,612. They average about 6.5 to 7 yards per completion, about between 210 and 230 yards per game. And get this, Heineke has an 89.6 rating and Wentz an 86.3. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So they have more big play capability perhaps with Wentz because he's got a stronger arm, but he's got a worse attitude. Now, they have no ground game to speak of, but we've heard this before, and it didn't stop anyone from running over us.
Yeah, they'll find guys off the practice squad, that'll run all over us.
Robinson Jr., 3.9 yards per carry. Gibson, 3.7 yards a carry.
Who are these people? They're homeless people, right?
I don't know what they are. But what I can tell you is that McLaurin has 1,092 yards. He's been targeted 109 times. He has a 15.2 yard average per completion. And
he could start for us, couldn't he? We'd find a roster spot for Terry McLaurin on the Browns.
McLaurin, Samuel, and Dotson.
All 3 of them.
Yep. Those 3 guys are the main receiving core for them and have done, Dotson has caught 29 passes. He's a rookie. We know he was Penn State guy.
Yeah, Penn State guy. Yeah.
And
absolutely.
We looked at him and we thought,
we get the Purdue guy receiver instead. Yeah.
He's a slot receiver. That's all right. A running back, Gibson has caught 46 passes. Tight end has 31 receptions, but only for 251 yards. He's kind of a move the flags kind of guy.
Wow, that sounds like Gary Barnidge.
Yeah, Barnidge.
Whatever happened? Is he dead? Whatever happened to him?
I don't know. He changed his last name to Barnacle.
Oh, wow.
I have no idea. Now, the thing that's interesting is the quarterbacks, when you put those two, the dynamic duo of Heineke and Wentz together, have been sacked 42 times, but their defense has sacked the opposing quarterback 37 times. And Allen at defensive tackle, Payne at defensive tackle. These 2 guys, 7.5 and 9.5 sacks as defensive tackles, not defensive ends. Montez Sweat, who's their defensive end, he's got 7 sacks. All right. So there is going to be pressure to bear.
Yeah.
If we throw the football, if we can't run the football, and we're not protecting our quarterback. So, that's that. I don't see them as a good running team, but it's all want to.
Yeah.
It's all want to. And okay, now Talevsky's correcting me, and he says Gibson won't play.
Oh, well, then maybe you need a Stratocaster then.
Yeah, that's true. That's a Telecaster.
Fucking hell.
Absolutely.
Try a Fender.
My Gibson won't play. Well, plug it in, you stupid ass.
Yeah, your amp's not plugged in, mate.
Yeah. So,
God.
it isn't that the Commanders are that great a team. It's that they have more to play for, and the Browns really have an attitude problem, and it's all the way across,
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. I was also interested that Joshua Dobbs finally got a chance to play. He was 20 of 39 with 232 yards.
When was this?
One pick last night. And
why was I not informed that old Joshua Dobbs was playing in the NFL?
Only a 67.5 rating. They dropped a lot of passes, but to be honest with you, Tennessee is, not doing so well. Yeah, we got to predict the game, and Rick May is moving me along.
He was right about Mike Patton being 7-4. I believe that is correct.
Yeah. Commanders 23, Browns 20, Rick is saying. Bronk, what are you saying?
Oh, do I have to say something? I would say Commanders 37, Browns 19.
Yeah, and I kind of think the same thing's going to happen. It's going to be like 30 points for them and only about 17 points for us.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
that's the predictable. Yeah, we've seen this end of season scenario way too many times, and against these mediocre teams that have to win, and it is what it is. I mean,
and before I get off this altogether, I just wanted to say that it's a fair assumption that Tyler Huntley will start for the Ravens as Lamar Jackson's absence continues. Overrated.
No.
Guy can't play hurt. Pussy.
Yeah. Well, Double P thinks the Browns are going to win.
Hey, somebody's got to be optimistic.
He's young,
here.
though, isn't he? I think he's a young guy. So
but he's optimistic. He's got his whole life in front of him.
Yeah.
I'm 65-year-old geezer, for God's sakes.
Yeah, we're old, man.
Yeah, we've seen it too many times. So
I want to wish Happy New Year to the Black Cow of Death. Although we didn't see him this year, he was working his way behind the scenes because he got rid of some big ones over the past week. Pele and I also want to say that Generalissimo Franco Harris is still dead. So there you go. There he is, the Black Cow of Death. Had a
tear
good
into his eyes.
Yes.
The Black Cow of Death lives.
Yes. He's retired, though. He's out the pasture, isn't he? We don't invoke him every week.
No. But, yeah.
He needed retiring, though, the Black Cow of Death after COVID.
Yeah. I wanted to... No, Double P, I did not see the comments on that. Please fill me in. The Ravens coach comments on the set. Harbaugh talked about. I don't know.
He could speak.
He's saying that Lamar is sitting out for contract reasons. He could play, but he is protecting himself. Can you believe this?
He is a pussy.
I mean, this is the worst attitude player in the history of the game. Overrated. He is
a puss.
If I were a Ravens fan, I'd be just so irritated. He only wants to be the glamour guy. Guy can't take a hit. He's a pussy.
He's a puss. Yeah.
God damn, that is crazy.
He's got more talent than Vince Young had, but that's about it. That's all I'm going to say for him.
But I was going to say that, I wonder how much of this suddenly, my knee hurts.
My knee
is just bullshit because he's, realized that, the less they see of me fucking up in the playoffs. If I lose, I'll blame the team and Harbaugh and I'll get my money and I won't be damaged goods until I get the big payday. And when I get the big payday, then my knee will go out for good and I'll be nothing in history.
Oh God, he has no resume for the Hall of Fame. Even if he plays 3 more seasons, he's nothing.
The quote from David Telesky's giving us, I'm just coaching guys that are here.
Oh, he's lost the
Ooh.
team.
Oh.
Ooh.
Yeah, wow.
Hey, what would John Madden say about that? If Kenny Stabler came up to John Madden and say, "Well, listen, John, I don't want to play," even though he would be upset, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I would think so. You point a gun at him and go, boom.
Boom!
I really,
You fucking turducken.
and now this may be the only funny thing that Amsterdam has said in months.
Yes, we know Lamar is his own agent.
But it is funny. Yeah, I think
Golf
he's right. And here, Double P is coming up with the same info. He's saying uh, whether Lamar Jackson is dealing with a PCL sprain or strain, and he said, "It's not for me to say." Johnny Mathis. Harbaugh said, "We're just coaching the guys out here right now." It's like, fuck him. I don't care what his need is. I don't care.
I think Huntley isn't that much different, to be quite honest. Old Chet, so my man.
Although
Chet.
no, they're not scoring points. They're winning games because of their defense.
Yeah,
and that's going to be what gets it done until the playoffs. They'll get into the playoffs and they'll realize that if they fall behind, they're toast.
Yeah,
they're absolutely toast. And I think that's probably what's going to happen. Now, I did want to talk about the other part of the equation, which is the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Oh,
and
they were. Oh, what happened? What happened the other night? I was watching that game, and the fucking Pacers beat us.
Well,
they just shot like 80% from three or whatever it was. It's crazy.
There is, I'll say this for the Ravens. The Ravens know what butters their bread, and that's their defense. Because Harbaugh doesn't know shit about offense, but he does know about how to play solid linebacker-based, stop the run, put pressure on the quarterback defense, and hold teams down to fewer points. And he tries to win that way. And that's great. Yeah. At least he has a plan and a method. But, if you have a plan, you have a chance. If you don't have a plan, you have no chance whatsoever. And if you have to establish, it's like some fighters don't have a big punch, and they got to become elusive defensive fighters,
Yeah.
Other guys have a big, George Foreman, he could put you out with one short punch. He could
just
take you out.
You and knock you out. He's that intimidating.
Yeah. I mean, so the Ravens at least have that going for them. The Cavaliers have a plan.
Yeah.
But they don't follow it. The players refuse to follow it. So, they got done beating the Milwaukee Bucks and just played fantastic defense.
Yep.
They come out against the Pacers and they say, well, we're going to play their game and beat them at their own game. And you're not good enough. We don't have a shooting three. We got two guards who can score points, and the rest of the team, we got Big Ben, who are, we got Mobley and we've got Jared Allen, and Jared Allen hasn't been scoring as many points because he's not getting as many opportunities. Because in a game like this, to keep up with the goddamn Pacers, we had to start throwing up threes. And the difference was, you knew playing that style of game that it would come down to who had the big blast,
Halliburton and all that.
Which team was going to come through at the end, and it's the home team.
Yeah,
you could see it from the beginning.
And I know you hate. I know you have a go at LeVert all the time, but geez, every time he drives to the basket, he gets ass raped, and the ball doesn't go in. He doesn't get the foul, and the ball doesn't go in, and they get the rebound every time he drives to the basket. I'm sick of seeing it.
All I'll tell you is this: Donovan Mitchell was so pissed off at Karis LeVert because LeVert was just putting his head
Ball
down and
hogging.
driving in. He wasn't passing the ball.
Yeah.
Karis LeVert's not going to be on the Cavaliers. I'm not going to tell you how I know. I'm telling you that I know. Karis LeVert will not be on the Cavs roster after the trade deadline. It's just he's not going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, if he's going to hog the ball, he's got to make sure he scores. But they're waiting for him to drive in, and then their bigs came by and just smacked the hell out of him, and he never scored.
And the other thing is, so we come out and the players decide what, and even after the game, it was amazing. JB Bickerstaff says, I guess what it comes down to is we have to decide whether we're going to play their game or our game.
Well, he's the fucking coach.
He can't control them. They're 22, 23-year-old punks, and they love to party, and they love the notoriety of being an all-star, and they want to be in a track meet up and down the floor. That's not how this team wins.
Yeah, we're not a West Coast team, man. This isn't West Coast Jazz, man.
Well, it isn't even that. It's that how can we stay, first of all, we have small guards. Now, Donovan Mitchell's built like a tank.
Oh, yeah.
But he's only 6'2".
Yeah.
Darius Garland's only about 6'1" at the most, and he's very slight. And they're beating the shit out of him. And you want to talk about not getting calls? I mean, they are literally blinding this guy.
Oh yeah, every time he gets hit in the head. Like, what game was it where they showed like 8 times he got hit in the head like over the past week?
Yeah, but I wanted to point out this because it doesn't get mentioned. Darius Garland injured his thumb, all right?
Okay.
And the play, he came down the lane, from basically right to left on your TV screen. I sound like Joe Tate. And the guy slapped at the ball and bent his thumb back, all right?
Yeah, okay.
But that's not the rest of the play. If you can find it, the full second
where he
angle.
runs off?
Huh?
Is that the one where he ends up running off and he bashes into somebody?
Yeah, right. What?
Oh, right. Okay.
They claim that he ran into somebody. No, he did not.
Yeah.
The guy, number 28, his last name begins with a B. I don't give a fuck about him. He's a piece of shit.
Yep.
If you watch Garland play, Garland very often will shoot a ball and immediately run after he shoots it, either to try to follow up his shot or
get down defense. Yeah.
Or at the end of the first half, he'll take the last shot and just keep running for the tunnel. That's just what he does.
Yeah.
And so he got whacked. And when he got whacked, he immediately looked down at his thumb and he continued. His momentum continued forward. Number 28 for the Pacers literally stepped in and bludgeoned him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want people to find this play. If you recorded the game, it's a second angle that they showed.
I saw it. I remember it happened. And the refereeing was appalling. I mean, that play, like 1 minute left in the third quarter, where Donovan Mitchell clearly walked about 3 times. He jumped up in the air and his feet landed down and he moved around and ended up the other side of the lane. And that got Carlisle sent to the showers. I mean, the refs were making bad calls for everybody in that game. And
yeah, but I mean, the bad part of it is that guy should have been immediately thrown out of the game.
Oh yeah, that was like a Kelly Olynyk job.
Right. There's no rhyme nor reason that after a foul's been called, that you would just literally step and lower your shoulder into a player who weighs literally 70 pounds less than you.
That had to be after the whistle.
Way after the whistle.
That had to be. I mean, I can't prove it, but somebody finds the fucking thing somehow and clips it, then they'll see it.
Now, Ron Shane, Ricky Rubio's return is imminent. According to JB Bickerstaff, he said he's ready to go. I think they're just waiting for the turn of the calendar. I think that we're going to see him next week.
I think that'll be a massive difference.
But there's going to be limited minutes involved. Don't expect to see the player that you saw before he got hurt.
We're old now.
It takes time to get back from that. But that's going to be. It's good for the team. because he keeps the team playing at pace. And what we're seeing from the Cavaliers right now, it's taking way too long to get into their play sets. And then on the defensive end, we're just playing shadow defense, and we're it's like a shell defense, and people are driving by us, and then we immediately throw it inbounds, and it's just up and down track meet. But when we are running our plays, it's taking way too long to start the action on those plays.
Yeah, I
So
was watching the Pacer announcers, and there was one stage where the Pacers, like 2 minutes and 10 seconds, they scored like 15 freaking points, and we were just like standing around trying to chase shadows. It's just unbelievable. They'd get the ball, they'd get a rebound, run down, shoot three, get the ball, get the rebound. It was crazy.
yeah, what I can tell you is it's all want to, like I say, it's on the defensive line. There are individual battles, and there are individual battles that you may not be seeing because you're focused on where the ball is. In football, it's especially true with 22 men on the field. In basketball, so it is as well. The effort that players make to close on three-point shooters is very important. And the reason it's important is because in yesterday's basketball game, a guy like Halliburton is 6'5", and he can shoot that ball over Darius Garland anytime he wants.
His shot was open the whole game, and there was nothing that I couldn't think of anything that could be done about it. You just had to hope he missed, and he didn't.
Yeah, and
like 7
hats
to 9.
off to them. They got to play their game. We didn't put any pressure on them. And the fact is they were hoisting up threes early, and we never really got up into their faces and forced them to beat us a different way.
Yeah, they had to have at least 20 threes. I mean, minimum.
Well, they shot 62% from three. I mean, there's no reason for that, but you got to get a hand up into somebody's face. And the only one that Buddy Hield missed was because a hand was in his face. What do you know? So there's that.
Oh, and he's not that good. The announcers were pimping him like crazy. Vote for him for the All-Star game, and I go, "Is that really all you've got?" But yeah, they still beat us.
Yeah, well, Buddy Hield is a great three-point shooter. He can't play a lick of defense, but he's a great three-point shooter. And if you just let him eye the rim from out there, he's gonna kill you. And in his last like 7-8 games, he's been shooting 60%. It isn't just us he's doing it against. Yeah. If you're not closing out and playing hard, and that's what the Cavaliers are not doing. They're just not closing out and playing hard. And the way that the Cavaliers get transition points is through their defense. It's not because they're this,
zippy team.
Yeah. Second slowest rate of play in the league, the Cleveland Cavaliers.
And we were trying to run with them. We were trying to run with them last night. It was just totally it was never going to work.
I will go as far, Double P, as saying he's not only hurt, he's going to be out. That would be my guess, because he didn't want to be in the game after that. He tried shooting 2 free throws, and they looked like, God only knows, like Ben Wallace had shot them. I mean,
wow,
so it just depends how long it's going to take to get the swelling out of that thumb area. It's probably in this area that I'm pointing to in here, and whether there was any tendon damage done in here, but it's going to have to,
wow.
They're going to have to get the swelling out of it, and I think he's going to miss some time with this. But they're beating him like a rag doll, and it's unfortunate. Well, at any rate, I'm done with what I have to do, and I appreciate everybody coming out and watching the program, and I want everybody to have a happy New Year. I'm going to be seeing you again on Sunday. What are we, a 1:00 game? I believe
it is a 1:00 game. I don't know whether I'll be watching it because it's a holiday. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I probably won't see the Ohio State game live either, because it starts at 1 a.m, right after New Year's I hate these college playoff games on New Year's Eve. It's the most ridiculous idea they've ever had, but
Yeah, it's
they
money, you
insist
know.
on it.
Yeah, everybody's following up with, yeah, see you next year. You'll be a
Yes.
year older and your memory will be that much worse. You know, I said Black Eyed Peas instead of Arrested Development. I mean, I should know so much better than that. Thank you, Rick May, for
Wow.
correcting me. It's like, holy shit, I'm losing my fucking mind. And
He's
it's
like the Joe Reale of Moohead Radio, isn't he? He's
oh
there
yeah,
the
I mean,
stat guy.
he's a music guy like I am. I can't believe that I missed that. You know, Arrested Development, right, man?
We need like a Jerry Springer sum up of the year or the season or whatever you want to sum
That'll
up.
be after Sunday's game.
Yeah, we.
But tomorrow, yeah, I mean, what, 8:00? Is that Ohio State and Georgia?
Yeah, it's 1 a.m. my time. So yeah, 8:00. Yeah, it's
Right.
it's after the exciting Michigan TCU game, which who is going to watch that? I don't know. If you're not a fan of either one of those schools, I don't know why you'd bother watching that.
Yeah. So at any rate, everybody enjoy yourself. As far as Double P, any thoughts on Luca's 60-point game? His name is Luca.
He lives on the 7th floor.
Yeah. I guess you've probably seen him before.
Yeah.
Now, who sang it?
Suzanne Vega. In fact, I saw
God,
I saw her live back in like
it was the Black Eyed Peas.
1986. It was the Black Eyed Peas.
All right, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you again on Sunday. Game time, halftime, and post game. But I'm going to make them quick because I got my New Year's dinner that I got to eat, and nothing's going to
may not be
it's
around.
Could be good. It's going to be good this year. So
going to be around Monday or maybe
yeah, I
not.
probably will. I don't know where else I would be.
Where would you be? Yeah, where would we all be? You know.
Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will wait a minute. Before I go, I'm wondering if I could do something, and bear with me.
We need a voice to end the show. We need some.
No, that's not what you need. Let's see if I can actually. I just wanted to see something here, and it's probably just foolishness. I'm not going to be able to do it. This froze up, didn't it?
No.
I got to get this off, but I'll do it next time. I promise you, I'll do it next time. And everybody, thanks a lot. I'll be getting out of here now, and see you on Sunday. Until then, hasta la vista, Pasture Heads. Good night.
Boo, boo, boo.